Today we want to find out how big a good marriage is.
You mean how many people it affects?
Yes.
Let's go find out.
How big is it? I can't measure it.
Big!
Let's use those trees and those trees.
It's worldwide. I would say big as the universe, and that universe is infinite.
So your marriage affects more than just the two of you.
How many people are we talking about?
At least 1,000.
Thousands.
Yeah.
Hundreds of thousands.
I think it stands out more than we realize.
If you bring joy to your marriage, people are kind of like, I want that too.
You're drawn to that because you see those nice people being together, being happy, and you want to enjoy that too.
If you were going to take all these people that your marriage has influenced, what kind of building would you need to house them all?
It's going to be quite a big building.
Oh, that would have to be a cathedral.
A gymnasium.
Stadium.
We're not the stadium level.
How about that one?
So a good marriage really is good for more than two.
Yeah, a good marriage goes a long way.
I would have wasted all my days in a dream. That's where I know you'll always be. I never stop to wonder if you might be real. And now you're lying next to me, singing la 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 la.
Dr. John and Claire Izagiri, and we are expecting them any second now.
Yeah.
They should be coming.
Yeah, so let's see.
Hello. Good to see you. Are you ready to change your life? Of course. Excellent. Well, welcome to our place. And come on in.
Wow,
Yes.
can we have a tea here?
Absolutely. Come in, have some tea, some coffee, some biscotti.
Oh, thank you. That's very good.
Sand on the sea, a place.
We met in 1983 at USC. John was a doctorate student, and I was a American Baptist chaplain, and meeting with the students. And one of our friends was a mutual friend of ours, so introduced us. And then God started doing a lot of good things in our life from that moment on.
That's true. We come from very different backgrounds. Claire comes from a Protestant, Anglo background, and mine is Hispanic. I was born in Spain and Catholic. So it was a very beautiful but challenging journey, where we had to integrate different faith traditions and also different cultural heritage.
Yeah, but a very beautiful journey. As my trajectory was from going from campus ministry at USC to then into ordained ministry in the 80s at a local church, and John becoming a psychologist and working with many, many populations. And then I joined him by going back to school and becoming a marriage and family therapist.
Because we see that there's a true integration between spirituality and psychology, that when spirituality understood as practicing the art of Christian loving, which means the ability to build relationships that are inclusive, the ability to understand the needs of the other person and to love the other person intelligently and respond to those needs in a way that is sensitive, the ability to have the initiative, not be conditioned by the challenge of difficult people, but have the freedom and the initiative to reach out to everybody in a way that leads to an experience, hopefully, of mutuality in the relationship. So we see that the art of loving is building healthy relationships, and true psychology is about helping people get along in ways that provide a response to the need for harmony, for unity, for understanding, for validation, for mutuality too. So they are both going in the same direction. It's just an opportunity to integrate the two with a language and with a set of skills that appeals to people.
We had been doing a lot of clinical work with couples, and increasingly more and more talks in the community on these different aspects of how do we love intelligently, how do we promote unity, and all these ideas were beginning to be taught. And so finally, after many requests for do you have this in a book? Do you have this in a book? We finally said, soon, and then we finally said, now is the time. So John is the primary architect of writing the book. In collaboration, we put all these ideas down. So it began in 2004, and then a couple years later, the book came out in Spanish, and then Italian, and then French, and so, different editions have come
And the
out.
book is in Spanish also, Casados y Felices. And in many places in South America and Mexico, they tell us in our parish, this is what we use.
Yeah.
And because it's 12 chapters, the people gather once a month and they read the chapter and they share the experiences from that chapter. And in some dioceses, they use this as premarital book.
Yes.
So people who want to get married, they wanted to answer the questionnaires and work through the book in order to be psychologically and spiritually ready for what they're doing. So it has become an educational tool. And it's an inspirational guide. That's what we want it to be, And because we didn't have time yet to write books on the other topics like resilience or forgiveness, right now we use CDs, so people can use a CD. And there are people who listen to the CD going to work, coming from work, or they listen to the CDs as a couple together, in the evening. Maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes, but they really, they find it very useful. Yes, we get very unusual requests from all over the world. I think over 100 different countries, they send us emails, and they say...
Sometimes with a very simple comment, like forgiveness. Like, this was one of the ones I remember the most dramatic. Is a man from South America wrote an email and said, I just want you to know that your definition of forgiveness, which is, we always say, forgiveness is when you say to each other who you are, is more important than how you disappointed me in what you did. So that's the heart of forgiveness. For him, that was an absolute revelation and turning point in his own marriage. So he just shared in a very beautiful little email how that transformed his life and his relationship. Other times, like I got an email from a lady in Poland, said, I'm working with a group of abused women, and I find that your autonomy chapters on how to build good assertiveness, manage stress, are so excellent. Do I have your permission to use this with all these women? And I say, of course, of course.
Yeah. And from Australia, from Africa, different parts of Europe, Eastern Europe, actually. A lot of requests, can we use this program? Can we use this idea? Can I have a copy of your outline or your PowerPoint? And we are very accommodating, because for us, this is our job, but it's also more than a job. This is a vocation, our vocation for us. We want to be of service to families. It's actually, it's beautiful because there are very few clinicians who are bilingual, bicultural, meaning Spanish and English, and who integrate psychology and spirituality. Actually, there are very few. Maybe in Southern California, you can count them with the fingers in one hand, and there are significant community. There's a significant community. There are over 2 million people, here who need psychological services, or who could benefit from this kind of educational programs. So what I have done is, with the Hispanic community, besides seeing them in practice here, but I can only reach a small number of people, is I have developed more CDs, more educational materials, double than they have in English. So to reach out to them, and I'm always very invested in the local communities, and there's a tremendous demand for offering high quality services that help families to overcome the challenges, because they have additional challenges, economic challenges, legal challenges, educational challenges. So, and I try to help them in that area too. So I'm very happy because I come from Spain, but here there are more people speaking Spanish here in the United States than in Spain, So sometimes I was joking with my wife, saying, I wish I could use my services in Spain because I speak Spanish. Well, there are more people here who can benefit, so.
Yeah, and we have these beautiful opportunities every year through the Los Angeles Diocese Religious Education Congress that draws 40,000 people together every year. I think this was John's 18th year speaking there. and he usually will speak to about 6,000, and most of whom are Hispanics on the Hispanic track. But he also offers on the English, and then I will often speak at the Southern California Renewal, which is the SCRC, which is a charismatic Catholic community, which is like a mini Congress, reaching out to maybe 20,000. So there are these beautiful, annual highlights where we're able to participate in these wonderful Christian conferences that draw many, many people. But it's been so beautiful to see the Hispanics who are so underserved finally get the really good information that they need that is faith-based, practical, so they can live lives of unity also. It's been very beautiful.
Christianity, this is saying in the gospel that Jesus says, "Seek first the kingdom of God, and the rest will be given you besides." We are a living testimony that that's true. We are trying to live the kingdom of God, seek first that, which means to provide the best quality of care to the people who come here, and to make sure that she and I practice what we preach. And we notice that whenever we have unity among us, and whenever we give people something that responds to the need in that moment, people keep coming, people keep referring. So our practice has never suffered, in a way, the negative influence of the market, or the professionals who have similar vision of how to help families and couples, because it takes some form of understanding of the importance of unity in life. For other therapists, maybe the importance is to make sure people are independent problem solvers, and that's good. There's nothing wrong with that. But if there are professionals who do similar work, mental health service, that they want to be connected with us, we'll be very interested.
To collaborate.
Yes, this is a surprising thing for me, because we have been a therapist for many years. That I was trained that you don't talk spirituality or religious issues to clients, unless there's a request from the client. And so there was kind of a dichotomy. You say this is the scientific world, and here the spiritual world, and just don't mix them up, My experience as a clinician is that people want the spiritual dimension. I never felt that anybody became annoyed or rejected that. It's presented in a way that is respectful, because we talk about what motivates you, what's important to you, what drives your life when you wake up in the morning. Those are values. Most values are based on spirituality. That's where they come. Unity is attractive to people. Very few people, I cannot remember actually somebody who says, "Oh, this makes no sense," or "This is irrelevant." I don't remember ever. They all say, "Wow, I never thought of it this way." "Oh, I want to learn." People want unity, but they don't know how.
Right.
They don't know how to do it. So how do you build it?
We actually say it's in our DNA to have unity. We're created to have unity, but how do we do unity experience?
In between visits.
Yeah. You want some chocolate?
I never thought I'd need my life saving. I would have wasted all my days in a dream. That's where I know you'll always be. I never stopped to wonder if you might be real. And now you're lying next to me.